Get a jump on next summer with Vrbo's early booking deals. Don't wait to claim your dream summer spot, whether that includes a good porch swing or a poolside lounger. When you book early, you get the best places at the best prices. But back to poolside loungers. With Vrbo, you don't have to reserve any loungers. They're all yours. In fact, the whole private home is yours. Book with early booking deals, and you can lounge around all summer long however you please. Book with Vrbo.
Hello, and welcome to It's a Fandom Thing. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and each week I'm joined by a panel of guests to discuss all things fandom and pop culture, primarily from a female perspective. You'll find everything from fanfic to cosplay to Schitt's Creek to Supernatural and everything in between. So put on your favorite piece of fandom merch, set aside that fanfic that you're writing about your OTP, and sit back and enjoy this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Pop Culture and Fandom News. I'm your host, Erin Marlowe, and on Friday's episode, we are going to be kicking off Comedy Month with a look at the film Mean Girls. But before we do that, we are going to talk about some pop culture and fandom news, and joining me for this episode and Friday's episode is, first up, one of the hosts of Talking Like a Teen podcast, Ashley. Hello, Ashley.
Hi, Erin. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being on. And then also joining me is Bex, who used to host Big Reputations Pod, co-host Big Reputations Pod, which I know is no longer a thing, but I know you have other podcasts as well. So hello, Bex.
Hello. And you can still listen to Big Reputations
Well, yeah,
Pod. It's definitely available. We haven't shut it down all the way, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I forgot to mention that part. So let's get started with our pop culture and fandom news episode. So Ashley, what is one thing in fandom or pop culture that you want to talk about?
I have been obsessed with a documentary that I watched on YouTube earlier this week called Listers, a glimpse into extreme bird watching. And the bird watching has been like very secondary to my obsession with this documentary. It was made by these two brothers they're kind of like stoners, essentially. And one of them found a guidebook about birds in their parents' house. And instead of just being like casually getting into bird watching, they decided to go like full sicko mode. And they spent a year living out of their car, driving around the country, competing in a bird watching tournament that I guess is a thing that happens. Trying to figure out who can see the most birds, and they track it through this app, and it's this whole thing. And like the nature documentary part of this documentary is very cool. But to me, what was super interesting is like the idea of jumping into something that intensely, and the idea of like taking something akin to a fandom or a hobby and immediately making it competitive and like the whole part of your personality when it's something in reality that like you don't even really know if you like or not. And the idea of kind of, instead of just like casually starting a hobby to see if you like it, jumping in like completely head first, like leaving your job, leaving all of your things to go and do this thing was just like super interesting to me. And the more I kind of sat around and thought about it, this documentary like won't leave my head.
That's interesting. It's like a fandom for bird watching.
Yeah.
Bird watching fandom. People who are into birds and looking at
They get
birds
really
get
into
very serious about it. Like if you're in the car with someone and they're into birds, they'll see a bird way off in the distance. They're like, that's a this. You know?
And they can see them when I can't see them for anything. They're like, oh, do you see it? I'm like,
Right.
see what? I see trees. What?
And it's so interesting because they talk to people within this community, and there were a couple people that were like, yeah, we don't see as many birds as we used to. And yet in the same breath, these people are traveling, like driving by car 20 hours to go see a bird, or catching a plane and then getting in a car and then doing all this stuff. And I'm like, your carbon footprint and the effects of climate change are making it so that you can't see these birds anymore, my friend. Think about it.
That's a good point. I wonder if any of them do think about that. It's kind of like the people that are like, environmental activists like Leonardo DiCaprio and then take like private jets everywhere, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The cognitive dissonance of it is very real.
Exactly. And what was the name of that YouTube show again?
It's Listers: A Glimpse into Extreme Bird Watching. It's completely free on YouTube.
Listers?
Listers. Like Listers. Yeah, it's a weird word.
Like they make a list of birds?
Yes.
What's happening
Yes,
here?
exactly.
Or Listerine was what I thought of.
Okay. Mouthwash.
So apparently this documentary had some legs enough to where a few streamers contacted them and tried to get them to sell it to them, and they said no. And they've listed the documentary on YouTube completely ad-free, and there's just a link down in the description where you can donate money to them if you want to. And they've apparently made a lot of money, like made their money back as far as production and all of that stuff goes. So it's a cool, like, little DIY project that has just kind of popped off, I guess.
Huh, interesting. Yeah, I've never ever heard of that, or competitive bird watching. I don't know. Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. Bex, what is one thing in pop culture or fandom that you'd like to talk about?
I want to talk about Killer Dinner. I am obsessed with Killer Dinner. So
I was thinking something different. Sorry, go ahead.
okay, so you know how a lot of these YouTubers, and I think Carla's talked about this before with Smosh, but these big YouTube channels, they have kind of gone their own direction and started their own streamers. Well, I'm a big fan of the Try Guys. Like, love the Try Guys, and honestly, through all the ups and downs and the way they dealt with their biggest down, I am so proud of them. I love following them. They started a streamer a year ago called Second Try, and they put all their back catalog stuff on there, and they've started doing a whole bunch of different shows and kind of building up their catalog over the last year. And just a month or so ago, I guess there were 6 episodes, and they started this show called Killer Dinner. And I guess if I'm going to compare it to anything that people would be familiar with, it would be like Traitors. I haven't watched Traitors, but that's everything I've heard about it. So basically, it's a dinner party, and you've got 9 guests, and then the host, who is the one who is dead. And it's part reality TV show, part like little games that they play, like challenges. And then there's like a dinner where they vote people out or someone's killed. So they did reveal in the first episode who the killer was. And then the killer chooses an accomplice, and they kind of have their confessionals with all of that. And then they have to play a kitchen game. And like the killers want to be able to kill someone. So if they lose the kitchen game, and it's just called the kitchen game because they only have so much space, so they played them in their kitchen. If they lose the game, the killers get to kill someone. But if they win the game, then they have to banish somebody as a collective group. So every episode, somebody is out. So they do, it's kind of in multi-parts. So they have their confessionals where they're talking to each of the people individually. It's just the producer and that person. Then they have the cocktail hour where everybody's like socializing and trying to form alliances and like, hey, this is why we suspect this person is the killer. And the goal is to get the killer out before the killer gets everyone else out. And so that part's really fun. Then after they do that, they go to the kitchen game. And then after the kitchen game, they go to the dinner. And they serve everybody. If someone's been killed, they serve everybody a dish. And when you cut into it or whatever it is, if you're the one who's killed, there's something that makes it poisoned. Like there was a plastic cockroach in one, or there was one that just had like the skin and bones of fish instead of the actual fish. And so good, so good. But the best part is they have like an after show called Ghost Kitchen. So everybody who's killed off goes into this van and they do like a podcast. And they're all speculating like, okay, so who do you think is the killer? Are you the killer? I am obsessed, and I got my sister watching it when I went to visit her in Minnesota, and she was so mad at me because there were only 3 episodes out at the time, and she's like, what do you mean I have to wait? So definitely check it out. I think they do like free trials on second try, maybe like 3 days or something, or they are having a 20% off if you're a new subscriber. But if you've ever enjoyed any of the Try Guys content that involves Keith and Zach, I would highly recommend signing up for it and watching Killer Dinner.
See,
So
every
good.
time he said that, I thought, I'm sure this is a movie that neither of you have seen. Maybe you have, and I will be very excited. There's this movie called Blood Diner, and for some reason, every time you said that, I'm thinking of the movie Blood Diner, which you can guess what some of the food was that they served there. But it's like a B horror movie that is very hard to find and everything. But anyway, that just for some reason reminded me of that. So
A little less intense.
they're not actually
No.
like Fergie would want them. Fergie the dog would be disappointed because no one was actually getting like sacrificed. or anything.
Correct.
Fergie the dog would want
disappointed.
to see like sacrifices in that kitchen. And then there's none coming, and that would be a total disappointment for her.
I want to say the first episode might even be available on YouTube as kind of like
Okay.
a teaser to
Yeah.
like pull people in. So check it out.
But it does remind me very much of The Traitors when you're talking
Uh-huh.
about it. It does remind me of like The Traitors, but in the kitchen. Well, this is me mentioning something that will serve as a warning to everybody out there that I am going to be insufferable in June because not only is The Bear is supposed to be coming back then, but the new season of Interview with the Vampire, or, The Vampire Lestat is what it'll now be called for that season, is coming back in June. And I have watched the trailer for this, the new trailer they released, like at least 7 times by now. I, before that, had listened to the Lestat songs. There were 2 original songs that were released that you can listen to of the Vampire Lestat singing, because in this season it's going to be focused more on Lestat and about, it's based on, of course, the Anne Rice novels, and it's when he's a rock star and he's a musician. And so there are some original songs that you can hear, and I've listened to those over and over again. I've watched clips over and over again because Interview with the Vampire, and I don't know if either one of you watched the show, is seriously one of the best shows I've ever seen on TV. I really, really think that. It is so well written, so well acted. The performances are incredible. The fact that they can make me like the character Lestat is just wild. And that's all due to Jacob Anderson's amazing performance. Also the writing, but I think his performance. Did I say can't make me like Lestat? I meant can't make me like Louis. I apologize because I love Lestat. They don't just, hint at sexuality and bisexuality and homosexuality. They don't just like hint at it. They are like, yes, Lestat. And this is not really a spoiler, but Lestat and Louis like have a full blown like sexual relationship, and they don't like, the show doesn't hide from that or make it, implied or have homoerotic undertones or anything like that. But it's not just about that. It's also just a really great vampire story. And I think it's done really well. I loved what they did with Claudia. I loved everything they have done in this show is so, so good. And I'm very excited for this season. And it just looks like, that Lestat's going to have more like, his temper tantrums, which is one of the reasons I love him. His, very thinking he's better than everybody else, but the insecurity beneath that and all of that. So I am very, very excited, but I know I am going to be insufferable. So that's a warning to everybody that knows me and everybody out there. This is going to become my whole personality. And to have not only that, but also the Bear, which I think all of you know by now how much I love the Bear. on at the same time, and this is allegedly going to be the last season of The Bear. Although the powers that be behind The Bear, like the people that have like the showrunners and everything, as far as I know, haven't outright confirmed that. But like Jamie Lee Curtis said it's the last season, and a couple other things were saying it. So I don't know, but we shall see. But having both of those on in the same month is just going to be a struggle for everybody else.
Not a struggle for Erin, just a struggle for the panelists. No, it'll be great. I think they'll love, like, we'll all feed off of your excitement.
Some people will be excited with me. Like, I know quite a few people that watch both. I know quite a few people that watch only one of those two. So, yeah. But if you have not watched Interview with the Vampire, the first 2 seasons are on Netflix, so you can watch them there. And I do highly recommend it. They're very bloody. It's, it's horror. So there's lots of vampire stuff. So, and lots of blood, lots and lots of blood, stuff like that. But it's good. I think it's a great, excellent series. And I'm very excited to have it coming back. Okay, well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to watch the trailer for Practical Magic 2, a movie I never thought was actually going to happen. And it's really incredible to me that this actually happened. It still, for some reason, blows my mind. But we'll be right back. Okay, so it's that time. Hit pause on us and then click the link in the show notes for the trailer for Practical Magic 2 with, again, Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, of course, are back. If you have already watched the trailer or if you don't care about practical magic, then you can just keep listening and hear our thoughts. Okay, so we just watched the trailer for Practical Magic 2. And Ashley, were you a fan of the original one? The original?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been a few years since I've seen it, but yes, it's a very fun movie.
So are you excited for this sequel?
I am. When I heard about this movie coming out around Halloween, I was like, all right, I'm going to get a group of the girlies and we're going to go see this movie. So I'm excited about it.
So Bex, are you a fan of the original and are you excited for this one?
Okay.
Uh-oh.
No. No, uh-oh. It's not uh-oh, but I had never seen this movie. Oh, the first one. I had never seen it until about a year ago when Kim made me watch it for one of our film Big Reels Patreon things that we did. We have since released this episode out to the world, so anyone can listen to it on our Big Reputations channel. The biggest issue I had with the movie was like, I did not understand the Midnight Margaritas bit. I was like, but why? What does this have to do with anything? I mean, it's very funny. Kim and I drank margaritas while we recorded this episode, so it's a little bit silly. I think I was a little more critical of it than she was because she watched it when she was a teenager and I didn't. But I wouldn't say I disliked it or anything. I just didn't feel like all of the connections. There were certain... I'm rusty on all of my hot takes because I know I had some hot takes in that episode. But what I will say is watching this trailer makes me a little more excited for it. I think maybe there's something about, like, first of all, when they made that movie and what kind of things were and weren't included in plot points that just didn't work for me. I think people making movies, most movies nowadays, try to be a bit smarter about their storytelling and like plot devices. And I'm hoping, I'm not saying this needs to be peak cinema. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I'm running a losing battle here because I will watch this movie. I will say that. I will go and watch this movie. I love Sandra Bullock. So I will watch anything that she's in. And I forget that guy's name, but I love him in Foundation. He looks like the love interest of this new version. So I did like him in Foundation. I don't know him from, like, as a person. But
I'm sorry.
Like, I don't know if he's like cancelable or something. I don't know.
No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. That's Lee Pace, by the way. It's
Lee Pace. Thank you. Yes, I knew when you said the name, it would come back to me.
I don't know him personally. We've never hung out. We've never drank margaritas together.
I would, though. I would. At midnight even, and that's past my bedtime, so that's saying something. But if someone woke me up at midnight to drink margaritas, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Let me sleep. Let me sleep. I think it's really interesting to see the daughters grown up and what the implications were. And it looked like, if I caught that right, it looks like Solo Maridueña is going to be maybe the love interest for one of the younger generation. And I like what he does too. He was Blue Beetle. He's also, I didn't check. Is that actually him? I suppose
I have no idea.
Before I go talking about how much I love him,
I don't know who that is. So that's so I was like, trusting.
He was in Cobra Kai, and
I didn't
all
watch
of that.
Cobra Kai.
That was him in the trailer. So he's in Cobra Kai. He was Blue Beetle. He's going to be in the 3rd season of the One Piece show, the live action. So yeah, it doesn't look like it's A+ cinema or whatever, maybe B-, but I think it will be fun. I think it will be enjoyable. And if it's not, I would love to watch it with Kim so that I can just like dunk on it with her to drive her crazy because I love her.
Well, and Carla had to go, but Carla backstage said, this movie looks mid. It's okay to say it, Bex. I think it looks fun, so whatever.
I think it looks fun. And you know, the first one was fun.
It wasn't your thing.
There was a lot of plot holes that I picked out in that one. After you're done listening to this, go find our episode on Practical Magic on Big Reputations and get a laugh.
Well, I love the original one. I think the margarita scene is one of the most iconic scenes in cinema, Bex.
Iconic doesn't mean good. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, that's true. I mean, top that. We talked about that last week, and that's one of the most iconic scenes in cinema. And, you know, Teen Witch isn't necessarily isn't peak cinema, but it's still fun. No, I mean, look, I love the original. I don't know if it was necessary to have a sequel, but this does look fun. One of the things I think that works so well about Practical Magic is, well, 2 things. I think, first of all, I think Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock, who are 2 people at the time I would have never thought of putting in a movie together, to be honest. I would have never really thought about it, but they have such good chemistry. They work so well together. They balance each other out so well. And then Nicole Kidman, I think, is the highlight of this series, to be honest. And I love Sandra Bullock, but I think Nicole Kidman is so much fun to watch. And I think at the time when Practical Magic came out, we were kind of, I mean, I guess you could argue to die for, but we were kind of used to seeing Nicole Kidman be like almost the tortured person, which is a role that she does a lot and she does well. But I like these kind of roles for Nicole Kidman where she's able to let loose and have fun and be, not bad isn't the right word because she's not bad, but, be free and not be so encumbered and not be so vulnerable, I guess is the word I'm also looking for. And so I think she is the highlight of the movie. I love Sandra Bullock and everything. And I love their aunts. I love, I love the whole thing. And I love the way they handle witchcraft in the movie and everything like that. And the margarita scene, everything. But I do think Nicole Kidman is the standout of them. And so I'm very excited to see more of her character because what she did in the first one, I think she must have had so much fun to not have to be so tortured for 2 hours. Because I think she's a fantastic actress. And she now is so on the TV landscape is where you mainly find her now, But so I just think it's exciting that we're going to be able to see more of that character. And I think her and Sandra Bullock work really well with each other. I have a little bit of an anger at Sandra Bullock at the moment because she is another one that's coming out well, we just got to get used to AI and learn how to use it. And and I'm so sick of that. Reese Witherspoon did a whole thing recently on Instagram. That is one of the most enraging things I've ever seen. I followed a bunch of actors that liked it too, because it was all her like making up the story about being at a book club. And there were 10 of us women at the book club. And I asked how many people use AI. And this number said, and this number didn't know about, how to use AI. Some people were scared of it. And then goes on this whole thing about technology. And I'm like, and how we should be embracing technology and embracing AI. She said the AI stuff a while ago, but she's like doubled down. So Reese Witherspoon has. So anyway, a lot of actors are now like big name people are starting to do this. And it's so frustrating and aggravating. But anyway, sorry, that's a little tangent, but I'm a little bit upset at Sandra Bullock because no, not okay. But I still really want to see this movie, and I'll be curious to see what the storyline is, because I do appreciate that this trailer doesn't really give anything away. You have no clue what's going on, and I appreciate that. So I'm looking forward to it. Okay, we're going to take another quick break, and there's already been a little bit of mention of YouTube the beginning, but we are going to talk about YouTube again. I just want to have a little bit of fun of just YouTube is turning 21, which I guess YouTube can drink now. So we'll be right back just to mention if we have any favorite like creator or a video. And I'm assuming by the fact that you both have mentioned YouTube that you both enjoy YouTube. So we'll be right back.
My name's Mackenzie, and I started a GoFundMe for the adoptive mother of a nonverbal autistic child. The mother had lost her job because she wasn't able to find adequate care for this autistic child. So she really needed some help with living expenses, paying some back bills. So I launched a GoFundMe to help support them during this crisis. And we raised about $10,000 within just a couple of months. I think that the surprising thing was by telling a clear story and just like really being very clear about what we needed, we had some really generous donations from people who were really moved by the situation that this family was struggling with.
GoFundMe is the world's #1 fundraising platform trusted by over 200 million people. Start your GoFundMe today at GoFundMe.com. That's GoFundMe.com. GoFundMe.com. This podcast is supported by GoFundMe.
Okay, so YouTube can drink now. Yep.
Hooray.
Cheers. Cheers, YouTube. Let's pop some champagne together. Let's do the margarita scene from Practical Magic. Whether or not Bex wants to. Ashley, you did mention up top about the bird watching, the Listerine. Sorry, I know it's not Listerine. The bird watching videos and the bird watching group videos you were watching. But do you have another like favorite video you want to call out or creator or anything?
I watch a ton of YouTube, like more than most of the streamers and stuff like that. So I have a ton of creators that I like. I watch a lot of the like BreadTube video essayists kind of thing, and a lot of like pop culture kind of analysis, music analysis, video game stuff. I watch a ton of stuff on YouTube. I guess I really like Todd in the Shadows. He does music analysis stuff. It's really fun. FD Signifier, he does video essays, kind of looking at different things from the Black male perspective, which on YouTube there's not a lot of. So it's kind of interesting to kind of look at things from a different angle with him. H-Bomber Guy, Lindsay Ellis, a lot of the creators that ended up moving kind of to Nebula. Those are the ones that I tend to watch, but I love YouTube.
Yeah, I'll have to check out some of those people because I'm always like, I need to watch. I mean, I'll be mentioning one creator, but I do need to be watching more YouTube, I think. But yeah, because there's a lot of stuff out there that I don't even know. Like, and then you mentioned Nebula. I don't know what that is. I feel so old. You don't know either,
bread
Bex?
tube. What's a bread tube?
I don't know where the term came from, but it's essentially kind of like left-leaning creators. So there's some political commentary there, but at least the ones that I tend to watch more of, it's more of a pop culture lens than like political commentary. Nebula is a lot like the Try Guys split off and did their own kind of platform. It's the same kind of deal. Just a group of creators came up with their own platform for videos.
Okay. See, I feel so old every day.
Anything else I can define for you?
What is YouTube? Just kidding.
I was like, BreadTube, is that like Book Talk, but like it's YouTube videos on making bread? That's really where I thought of.
That's what it should be, honestly.
So, Bex, are you going to be introducing new stuff too?
Yeah, totally. No. I mean, I'm not like new to YouTube, but I think I've only been watching it for maybe like a decade as opposed to the 21 years it's been around. It actually helped me get through a lot after I finished my PhD. I ask a lot of people who do this. If you don't get that job right away, you get a little depressed because you don't know what to do with your life because you've been going to school for 30 plus years. It's like, what do I do? You watch YouTube. That's what you do. So I watched a lot of the React channel at first. Like, you know, kids react to rotary phones and that sort of stuff. And they would often bring in other creators. So that's how I kind of got introduced to the Try Guys. It's how I got introduced to Dan and Phil. And so I would say, like, my favorite creators that are still on YouTube are Dan and Phil. And I was not like an original Cat Whiskers Dan and Phil fan, but Erin's like, I don't know what you're saying, but yes.
Well, I know who Dan and Phil are, but the Cat Whiskers thing lost me. God, I feel so old. I should know all this stuff.
It was like they did a crossover video. So they were both individual creators, although now we know that they were in a relationship the whole time. Yeah. Spoilers for real life. And
spoilers for real life.
Yeah, they would do crossover videos. So it was Amazing Phil and Dan is Not on Fire. So it was like Phil is Not on Fire videos, they would call them. And they drew cat whiskers on their face for some reason.
Oh, okay.
So it just became a thing. I don't engage with their fandoms as heavily. I think, like, especially with Dan and Phil, they're a bit younger than I am. Although I've found a few, like, 40s plus fans, which is nice. Even the Try Guys, I don't say I'm on the older end of the spectrum of viewers. But yeah, I've gone to different stage shows that both of those creators have had. I did not go to the Amazing Tours on Fire. That was, or is Not on Fire. That was before my time. But Interactive Introverts and things like that. Yes, I really gotten into them. But I would say in terms of the YouTube aspect of it, what I love is that they've started gravitating a little bit away from that. So I don't have to consume all of my content through YouTube, right? The Try Guys having their own streaming platform. Dan and Phil now have Patreon. So their main videos still come out on YouTube. I wish, I'd pay a little more for the Patreon if they would put them there too, and I could just skip the YouTube part. Because, I don't know, I think that it gets a little cluttery over there, with the comments and the commercials and that sort of stuff. I'm like, but I appreciate YouTube for what it has given me, which is finding these creators that I really enjoy and being able to follow them into different spaces.
Yeah, I remember with the Dan and Phil thing, I knew someone, and this was through Twitter. I met them through the Supernatural fandom. And they were really into Dan and Phil. And that was before they had come out about their relationship. And I know that shipping them was this huge thing in that fandom.
Yeah.
That was that's why it's kind of amazing that usually when you're shipping people in real life that you don't know are together or they haven't come out and said they're in a relationship, usually they're not actually in a relationship.
Right.
And so interesting to me with that one that they actually ended up coming out as being in a relationship. So,
and I really enjoy their content. Now they do, like I said, this might have been before we started recording. They do a white male podcast now, the two of them called Hard Launch, which is about them hard launching their relationship after 16 years of being together. And it's really just nice to hear them be free and comfortable with one another. I was kind of on the fence about in theory, I ship them, but because they are real people, I feel uncomfortable doing that.
Yeah, I'm very
and
weird
it was
about
like,
that.
I see it, but they said no, so I'm just going to believe that at face value because I don't have anything else to go on. But it's just nice seeing their shift in demeanor with one another and with their videos and their record. Like, they're not afraid to like put their hand on the other one's shoulder or whatever. Because before, people would just take that and run with it. And yeah, it's nice now.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to have to check out a lot of what has been mentioned. So I know I have mentioned this creator before, and so has Carla, but I watch his videos like throughout the week. Sometimes I'll tune into his lives and just have it in the background while I'm working, like I'll have my headphones on. And that's D'Angelo Wallace. He was a creator who was around and then left and then came back. And he takes on pop culture mainly, but from a critical lens, and looks at like different things. Like he recently did an episode, Michael Jackson, which, a conversation, which I haven't seen his comments yet, but he probably got a lot of backlash because he was talking about how, the allegations against Michael Jackson and how he is appalled that so many people don't seem to care about that and about the new movie coming out. And I know a lot of people have very, complex feelings when it comes to Michael Jackson, which I totally understand and acknowledge. He also did a really good one that was about the Wuthering Heights movie when that came out and all the controversy around that and the marketing. So he'll go deep into different things involved in one subject that he's trying to talk about. Like with Wuthering Heights, he talked about the whitewashing of Heathcliff. And then he talked about like the whole press tour and how they made it so it seemed like Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi were like flirting with each other all the time. And they did all these flirtatious things. And then like he talked about the costuming and everything and talked about, book to screen and adaptations and stuff. And so he will cover like tons of different things. And when he's live, he's usually he'll be live from like 2 hours to like almost 5 hours on YouTube. And then from that, he will release little like 20-minute, 30-minute segments that are kind of edited. When you watch him live, it's really interesting because he'll talk about other things besides his main topic, of course. His main topic might be stretched longer, lots of interaction with people that are watching him live. And you'll see, so I don't know, Bex, how this would be for you when you're talking about the comments, because when you watch his videos, you have his comments on the screen a little bit from his live. To me, it's not distracting at all. But he's also someone that, even though he plays clips and you look at clips, he's someone that you could also just listen to while it's playing. You don't have to necessarily watch the screen the whole time. But he's just really a fascinating person to watch. He's so well researched. Everything he talks about, he takes a lot of time to research it. He's also very much like, do your own research. Don't necessarily just trust what I'm saying. He's funny. He is so creative. And I just really enjoy his content. And I found him because Carla recommended him once on here. And then I watched one of his videos and it was just really interesting to me. He does always put trigger warnings if there's something that, like when he was talking about Michael Jackson, when he recently talked about Kanye. He also talked about Neil Gaiman not too long ago. So he'll put content warnings for those as well. He talked about Katy Perry recently, and that one I highly recommend. Content warnings for, she is allegedly, I have to say that for legality reasons, a gross, disgusting person. Really, some stuff she's done, it's just for years. And some of it, was captured on camera, I recommend him for that. Some of his videos are just kind of sillier than others, but usually they're just really in-depth looks at creators, and he's taken on other YouTube content creators and lots of the cisgendered straight white male podcast hosts and stuff like that. So I highly recommend him. And then just shout out to Smosh for Carla, because Carla loves Smosh, and Carla turned me on to Smosh. And when Carla was out here last weekend, well, maybe 2 weekends ago, probably when you hear this, but we went to a Smosh Reads Reddit Stories live thing here in Colorado. So that was a lot of fun. So I'm really excited to be listening to them. And then D'Angelo is going to be on Smosh doing something with them. So little crossover there as well.
No, I was going to say there's a lot of crossover with these groups. They were joking on the Try Guys the other day. They called it the BCU, the Burbank Cinematic Universe or something, because it's like Smosh and Dropout and Try Guys, and like they do, because there's a lot of the Smosh people come over to Try Guys as well sometimes and do content there. So
I like the Burbank Cinematic Universe. Yeah, so I know though that I need to watch more YouTube because I know there are a lot of great creators out there. It's not to say that YouTube is infallible or without justifiable criticism. And there are a lot of awful people on YouTube as well. And one day we will have to just do a whole episode centered on YouTube and the history of YouTube and look at it from a critical eye, because as much as I enjoy it, we all enjoy it. And as much as there's great content out there, really educational content, people that are, not in the mainstream media also like talking about like politics in a very good way, like, very, very, very progressive politics on there. There is also a lot of really, really gross and harmful content on there, some of the commercials, some of everything like that. So we will at some point talk about YouTube in a whole episode, but I just wanted to have some fun and just celebrate YouTube being able to finally drink, even though some of the people on there aren't able to drink. So aren't legally able to. But that'll do it for this week's episode of Pop Culture and Fandom News. Thank you, Ashley and Bex, for joining me. We're going to go ahead and close out, and I'll have both Ashley and Bex tell you where you can find their podcasts. So first up, one of the hosts of Talking Like a Teen, Ashley, tell everybody about that podcast and where that can be found.
So Talking Like a Teen is a podcast that I co-host with my best friend, Adrian, who's been on a few episodes of It's Fandom Thing as well. He and I kind of talk through pop culture and the media that is kind of important to us. We kind of started from a place of both being fans of Tegan and Sarah, and it's kind of grown from there. You can find us on tlatpodcast.com. We have an Instagram, it's TLAT Podcast. We have a YouTube channel, it's TLAT Podcast, I believe, as well. And then you can email us at tlatpodcast@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you. And next week, as a preview, both Ashley and Adrian will be on to talk about Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
One of the most non-problematic movies in the world.
I haven't seen it in a while, and I'm super excited to rewatch it. So,
yeah. And then next, co-host of Big Reputations Pod, but also you have a couple of other podcasts. So Bex, take it away. Tell everybody about that.
So you can listen to episodes of Big Reputations wherever you get your podcasts. It's a podcast about women that society judged too harshly, and we look to kind of set the story straight. You can still follow the Instagram at Big Reputations Pod. And the other podcast that I have that's still active at the moment is called Latinx Visions. It's a podcast that I co-host with my colleague at Brute College as part of the Black and Latino Studies Department. And we talk about art, theater, film, television, books, poetry, whatever arts and cultures from the Latinx communities. And if you want to follow me, I'm Dr. Bex, PhD on Blue Sky, I guess. I never remember.
Way to pitch it.
Yeah, wait a minute. I'm there. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And Fergie the dog. Well, I think Fergie would be okay with practical magic. Maybe it's not bloody and gory enough for her. She loves watching horror movies, but she also loves Abbott Elementary, and she does love true crime. And she is a funny, silly, goofy dog that you can follow on TikTok at Schroeder and Fergs. That's SCHROEDERANDFERGS. It's long, but it's worth it. To find links to all our past episodes and links to our social media, including our Discord server, head on over to our website. It's afandomthingpod.com. And while you're there, consider becoming a Patreon supporter today. For as little as $3 a month, You get ad-free content. You get episodes a day early. So we will not have that whole thing that Bex was talking about with Dan and Phil. You can listen to all episodes in one place. You do not have to go around to other places to listen to them. And then we also have bonus episodes. And occasionally our Patreon supporters can win prizes. Like with our upcoming marathon streaming event taking place on Saturday, May 16th from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We've had some great prizes donated to us. We have one prize. It's horror related, but it is so good. It's probably the best, I think one of the best prizes we've ever had donated to us. And at the end of our marathon streaming event, I will randomly pick a name of one of our Patreon supporters, and they will get a prize that has been donated. So you could win some fantastic prizes as well. So head on over to the link in our show notes or go to the support us tab on our website, which once again is it'safandomthingpod.com. And on Friday's episode, Ashley and Bex will be back to talk about Mean Girls. They're not Mean Girls. We're just going to talk about Mean Girls behind their back. So until next time, remember, it's a fandom thing. Black Lives Matter, stop Asian hate, and free Palestine.